yeah, one of the many goals that is typically top of mind, and we keep hearing from a lot of you is how do you enable work securely? How do you enable productivity without really preventing or without avoiding exposure of corporate IP and preventing any malicious insider risk? So we're going to look at how we can enable that and help you successfully achieve that particular goal. So let's start with the first challenge here with Gen AI adoption. Based on a survey that we recently came across, and also what we see in customer environments, there's close to 65% of adoption from employees with Gen AI at work. And there's a pretty big risk with any IP. It could be typical patterns around PII, PCI, PHI, or secrets, but there could also be confidential documents, that is actual sensitive IP that you want to prevent from getting exposed. There's also a lot of risk associated with personal versus corporate usage of these apps. In most scenarios, I'm sure you might have already enabled corporate accounts with apps like ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. But at the same time, you want to distinguish and prevent personal usage of these Gen AI apps. So we're going to look at how you could do that. And the fact that employees can use this across different surface areas, right? It could be browsers, it could be desktop applications of these apps, or it could be agentic workflows that they've sort of put together. And the traditional approaches really fail here. There are a lot of scenarios where you could be taking screenshots. There are basic patterns that typical tools look at without really any intelligent detection or the context around things like SSNs and credit cards. So in this case, we're going to look at a couple of different unique capabilities around file classifiers, as we call them, because you could have corporate IP. These are documents or this is source code that is going out into accounts, and we'll look at how Nightfall is able to address that particular scenario. So I'm going to showcase a couple of different features here and showcase the file classifier capability that we've recently launched. So let me switch over to a demo here. One sec. So, from a detection platform standpoint, with your prior experience of using DLP tools, there's a bunch of categories like credit cards, any PHI information, SSN numbers, or typical global identifiers that you may expect. And the traditional approach has been to put together a bunch of rules, regular expressions, or basic pattern matching to identify this, and those approaches fail, and they're not also effective in the case of if there are images or if there are PDF documents with images embedded in those. Most of these tools cannot detect or have OCR capabilities. But more than that, organizations are also looking at different types of documents, and we are excited to share we do have document classification. So this could be things like any confidential IP, executive communications. This could be internal or public source code. If you are in a manufacturing vertical, it could be your R&D and actual crown jewels that you're worried about, and you absolutely do not wish to see that being exfiltrated to unsanctioned domains. So the way we do that is so if you come into the detection platform here, we have a document category for the detectors that we support. And there are 23 different categories, as you can see here. And the way Nightfall works is it's looking at the full context. It's identifying the intent and how that document is structured to be able to accurately classify and categorize it in one of these categories that you may have been configured in the policy. So what I'm going to do now is go over to Slack and upload a few examples of these categories that we have. So you may be worried about salespeople taking customer lists from Salesforce, or they could have copied that to Google Drive, and then subsequently they're uploading it to their personal apps, they're emailing it out. There could be internal source code, right? So I'm going to go ahead and upload a few of these samples in Slack, and we're going to look at how they show up. There could be legal files or invoices that you may be sharing out with customers, and only a subset of your employees should be having access to it. So if you have a need for this, then you can use the document classifier. In addition to the predefined categories, we also have what we call as prompt-based entity detectors. So think of things like specific project IDs or medical reference numbers. If there is any pattern that you want to customize and look at, you can also create a prompt-based entity detector. The old way of doing this was obviously configuring a bunch of regular expressions, but here you can just prompt and specify what pattern you want to look for, provide a few example matches, and then you could save this, and this becomes your custom entity detector. And it works in the exact same way. So as you can see, I uploaded a bunch of those files that had confidential IP, and in a matter of seconds, it has detected and classified that content. So in this case, the invoice file, there's a summarization that happens that shares that this document, what type of content it was and why did it get reported in here. You also have the annotation capabilities that we use to retrain our models on a weekly basis. And of course, there's all the context that you need on the location, along with the preview and some actions that you could take. The same thing applies with our source code detector or even the customer list. And the risk models are automatically identifying the context that this was shared in the public channel. This violates a particular policy that is meant to look at high value crown jewels or corporate IP, and it's automatically categorized as a high risk event. And you could automate your response and remediation actions accordingly. So we looked at what the document classifier could do and how it's reported within the platform. You have the same capability across any and every app that you may be securing via Nightfall. If I went to DeepSeek and tried to upload that same document, the experience is going to be exactly the same in the context of exfiltration. So I have a blocking policy in place here. So as you can see, the moment I try to upload that customer list to an unsanctioned AI app like DeepSeek, I get a on-device notification. Of course, you could customize the message and the context that an end user sees and prevent this particular action from happening.